In this video, we'll configure AlarmTraq to work alongside Tigerpaw CRM. AlarmTraq version 7 now has the capability to provide a two-way communications link with the Tigerpaw database. When an alarm is received, AlarmTraq now has the ability to open up a new service order in Tigerpaw, as well as the ability to close a service order in Tigerpaw if AlarmTraq is able to resolve the issue on its own, or if the alarm just clears by itself. When a Tigerpaw user opens up a service order, does some work on the system, and finally closes out the ticket, that closed service order will tell AlarmTraq to clear that alarm, and the alarm itself will be shown as cleared in the AlarmTraq database. So let's take a look at the active alarms in our AlarmTraq database right now. Right now we have no active alarms. So let's go ahead and configure AlarmTraq to use the Tigerpaw integration. The first step we'll take is we're going to go to the system-wide options. Once system-wide options have been opened up, I'm going to go over to the ODBC tab. And as you can see, the Tigerpaw settings are all grayed out. It's telling me that you must first create an ODBC system DSN to the Tigerpaw database with the name AlarmTraq_Tigerpaw. Keep in mind this name, because the ODBC link has to be named that in order for AlarmTraq to recognize that it is the link to the Tigerpaw database. So I'll go ahead and click OK. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down, Start Administrative Tools. I'm going to go to Data Sources, ODBC. And then I'm going to click on the System DSN tab. As you can see, there is no link to the Tigerpaw database, so we're just going to go ahead and create one. So I'm going to click Add. The driver we're going to want to use is a SQL Server. Finish. And this is where that name comes into play. We're going to name this AlarmTraq. _Tigerpaw. And we'll give it a description. We'll just call it Tigerpaw DB. And I'm going to select the SQL server that the Tigerpaw database resides on. In this case, I happen to know it's the Dell PE860. And I'll click Next. Because AlarmTraq runs as a Windows service, we won't be able to use NT authentication or Windows authentication to access the database. So we'll go ahead and check the SQL Server authentication, and then we're going to enter our SQL username and password. This can either be the system administrator, or it can be a separate user created by the system administrator that has access to the Tigerpaw database. And I'll click Next. And we're going to change the default database to the name of your Tigerpaw database. In this case, it happens to be Tigerpaw. I'll click Next. We can go ahead and use the defaults for the rest. And I'll go ahead and test the data source. Test completed successfully. And I'll click OK. And OK again. Once the system DSN has been configured, now we can go back in AlarmTraq and go to the system-wide options. And we should have an option now to enable the Tigerpaw link. We'll click on the ODBC tab. And as you can see, our error message went away. And now I can click on the Enable ODBC link to Tigerpaw database. We're going to keep the majors and minor alarms flagged. We're going to uncheck warnings. We don't need to have warning messages opening up service tickets. We're also going to need to repeat the SQL Server authentication using the username and password we entered earlier. I'm going to click on test. Test completed successfully. Very good. I can go ahead and click OK. Now there is another option that we need to configure in order to make this link work. So I'm going to go back to the system-wide options. Again, I'll click on the ODBC tab, and I'm going to select the Tigerpaw settings. This is where we select the priorities in which major, minor, and warnings will be used, the service order status for new service orders, as well as closed, service order type, the rep assigned, or the rep that will receive the service orders, or be assigned the service orders, and a taken by rep. In this case, I've already assigned a new rep in my Tigerpaw database called AlarmTraq. So I'll go ahead and select AlarmTraq. The rep assigned, I'm just going to assign myself. The service order type is going to be AlarmTraq. This is another unique service order type that I created in my Tigerpaw database. And the status, when a ticket is closed, we're going to call it closed, as well as new will just be new. The default priorities for a major alarm is a high priority. A minor alarm we'll call a medium priority. And a warning, although we shouldn't receive any warnings, we'll call it a low priority. The process repeats option just allows repeat alarms to open up new service orders. This may or may not be an option that you like. You can play around with it and see what's best for your unique needs. So I'll click apply and OK, and I'll click OK. Now I'm going to give AlarmTraq a restart just so it can start up with all of the new options. And we should be able to immediately see tickets being created at this point. Within the site profiles, each site that will be generating new service orders need to have a unique account ID. That account ID can be the account ID is an integer value which represents the particular account in the Tigerpaw database. So I'll go ahead and open up my Tigerpaw. I'll bring it up here so we can see it. And I'm going to go to my accounts view. Now the first site we're going to be configuring is Business Financial Services. So I'll open up Business Financial Services. And I see that this particular account is account number 125, as it says right here on the title bar. So I'll go ahead and minimize Tigerpaw, and I'll find my Business Financial Services in AlarmTraq, and right on the Site tab we have an account number field. So I'll just go ahead and enter 125 there. Apply and OK. Now we'll just wait for an alarm to come in from Business Financial Services. I have a strange suspicion we'll be receiving an alarm within the next moment or so. I see port 1 is ringing in. And there's a major alarm generated for Business Financial Services. I'll just watch the status line down below. And as we can see down here in the status bar, AlarmTraq created new service order 1277 for account 125, Business Financial Services. So we'll go ahead and open up Tigerpaw and see if that service order 125 has been created in Tigerpaw. I'll go to the service order list view. And as you can see, there it is, service order 1277 for Business Financial Services. I'll go ahead and open it up, and the work requested is the details of the alarm. In this case, it's an expansion port network number 2, showing a major alarm. System type, which is a G3SI V6, as well as a brief description of the alarm itself and what the expansion port network does. From this service ticket, a technician can begin to repair the system, as well as he can look up some related documentation. I'll go ahead and hit the external products, and from here I have a link to view the alarm history, which here's the alarm history for Business Financial Services. I can go ahead and look at the RSS feed for this particular site. Showing all the latest alarms, as well as data on the individual alarm itself over the web. So this is telling me the internal ticket that AlarmTraq uses, the alarm number 13393. I'll go down and it tells me that 9/02/2010 created new Tigerpaw service order 1277. So for the time being, I'll just go ahead and close this ticket, and we'll see what happens if that alarm happens to get resolved due to some troubleshooting on the AlarmTraq side or on the AVAYA side. In this case, AlarmTraq was able to resolve the issue, so we're just waiting for an all alarms resolved to be returned back from the switch. And I do see my port 1 ringing in. And there it is, and all alarms resolved. And as we can see down here, I closed the Tigerpaw ticket. So now if we go back to Tigerpaw and go to our service order list view, we can see that service order 1277 has now been closed. And in another scenario, we'll have it where an alarm comes in from a particular site and creates another new service order. Only this time we'll see what happens when a technical services representative is able to dial in and resolve the alarm themselves and then closes the Tigerpaw service order. Okay, same site, Business Financial Services. This time it's a DS1 facility, which is in a minor alarm. We'll monitor down here, and as we see, created new service order 1278 for account 125. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that service order. Service order list view. There it is, 1278. And the technician's already resolved this issue himself, and he's just going to go in and close up the ticket and save it. We'll minimize that, and within about 10 seconds we should show that this alarm is cleared. We'll wait and see what happens here. There it is. Okay, should only take about 10 seconds to close that. So that about wraps up our brief demonstration on configuring AlarmTraq to work alongside Tigerpaw in a two-way communication link to open up new service orders as well as to close service orders, and also the ability for a Tigerpaw user to close a service order and have that automatically notify AlarmTraq that it's been closed and to clear the alarm status within AlarmTraq itself. Thank you very much.